What do you know about Sacagawea?
What do you know about Sacagawea?
Nothing.
Sean, what do you know about Sacagawea?
She's Native American and she's on the $1 coin. That's about it.
Who was Sacagawea?
Sacagawea was an Indian princess.
What do you know about Sacagawea?
She's an Indian.
Excellent.
Nathan, who was Sacagawea?
Indian lady.
Was they an Indian? No. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. Shayla, who was Sacagawea?
Oh God!
While some of those answers were correct, there's much about Sacagawea that you don't know.
During the French and Indian War in 1762, France ceded the French Louisiana Territory to Spain, west of the Mississippi River. In 1763, much of North America was territory of the Great Britain. Spain and France became allies, and Britain then used its navy to cut off Spain from America. President Jefferson bought the Louisiana Territory stretching from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains for $15 million from France in 1803 in order to expand his presidential power.
Jefferson hired Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to go on the expedition exploring the new purchased territory. One day, when she was about 12 years old, her tribe was attacked by the Hidatsa tribe and she was kidnapped along with a couple other girls, and Sacagawea was sold to a French-Canadian fur trapper named Toussaint Charbonneau and became one of his many Indian wives. When she was 15, Sacagawea was pregnant with her first baby, Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau, who was later nicknamed Pompey, or Little Dancing Boy. One tribe, one kind, one planet, one... Now introducing Lewis and Clark. Lewis was born in Albemarle County, Virginia, in the present-day community of Ivy. After his father died of pneumonia, he moved with his mother and stepfather, Captain John Marks, to Georgia in May 1780. Lewis was an American explorer, politician, and soldier who helped claim the Pacific Northwest and Oregon Country for the United States before European nations. President Thomas Jefferson appointed him governor of Upper Louisiana in 1806. William Clark was an American explorer, soldier, Indian agent, and territorial governor. A native of Virginia, he grew up in pre-U.S. Kentucky before later settling in what became the state of Missouri. Clark was a planter and slaveholder. Before the expedition, he served in a militia and the United States Army. Afterwards, he served in a militia and as the governor of the Missouri Territory. From 1822 until his death in 1838, he served as a superintendent of Indian Affairs. Lewis and Clark could have never done this expedition alone, and luckily met a Native American woman named Sacagawea in 1804. Sacagawea was born in 1788 in Lemhi County, Idaho, into the Shoshone tribe. The Shoshone people were well versed for survival in the harsh northern climate. They were expert hunters and fishermen and were skilled at creating clothing and housing to protect them from their environment. Growing up, Sacagawea learned these skills, plus many more, which would prove very, very valuable in the not-so-distant future. Back then, our country was a lot smaller than it was today, and Thomas Jefferson wanted to explore the rest of the land to the Pacific Ocean to eventually expand the United States, so he arranged an expedition, which is today known as the Lewis and Clark Expedition. She dug for roots, collected plants for food, and gathered berries. She also made it possible to communicate with local Indian tribes. Lewis and Clark's first task was to locate other men to join them on their expedition out west. They agreed to hire Sacagawea's husband with knowledge that his wife would come along and help interpret.
What is your name, my friend?
My name is Toussaint Charbonneau, and I am a French-Canadian fur trapper, husband to several wives.
How did you meet Sacagawea?
I bought her in 1804 with another woman.
What was this other woman's name?
Otter woman.
Why do you feel you're the most qualified to join our expedition?
Well, I speak French and Hidatsa, and my wife Sacagawea, She speaks Shoshone, and no one in your expedition speaks any of those languages. So I knew that she would be qualified to help you on your expedition.
Throughout the journey, Sacagawea carried her child Pompey on a board strapped to her back and continued to help them hunt and find food.
I hopped off the plane at LAX with a dream, my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame excess. Am I gonna fit in? Jumped in the cab, here I am for the first time. Look to my right and I see the Hollywood sign. This is all so crazy. Everybody seems so famous. My tummy's turning and I'm feeling kinda homesick. Too much pressure and I'm nervous. That's when the taxi man turned on the radio and a Jay-Z song was on. And the Jay-Z song was on. And the Jay-Z song was on.
In 1805, Lewis and Clark's boat is capsized and Sacagawea dives into the water to save all important documents and supplies.
Go get him! Get him!
Their next encounter is with a group of Shoshones, and the leader was Chief Kameawait, who happened to be Sacagawea's brother. They had an emotional reunion, but she must bid farewell to her loving brother to continue the journey. The group encountered very harsh weather. Although Sacagawea cooked roots in order to help the explorers gain back their strength, they eventually had to resort to eating candles to survive. Lewis and Clark met another chief wearing a beautiful fur robe that they wanted to bring back to President Jefferson as a gift. All they had to do is trade Sacagawea's favorite belt. On November 7th, 1805, after many months of travel, Sacagawea, her baby, and Lewis and Clark finally reached the Pacific Ocean. On March 22nd, 1806, the explorers set back off on their journey back home. The expedition ended in St. Louis.
Now we have an interview with an expert, Stacy, on more to Sacagawea's legacy.
What nicknames did Sacagawea have?
When she was alive, Sacagawea was a woman of many nicknames. She is often referred to as Bird Woman, Boat Launcher, or even Squaw, which had yet to obtain a negative connotation at the time.
Why is Sacagawea on the dollar coin?
Well, in the early 2000s, there was a huge controversy over who should replace Susan B. Anthony on the dollar coin. Initially, most people wanted the Statue of Liberty. However, eventually they chose Sacagawea, the Shoshone guide that led Meriwether Lewis and William Clark on their famous expedition. The popularity of the coin steeply dropped in 2000, and it was discontinued in 2012.
What has been named after Sacagawea?
Well, throughout American history, there have been numerous landmarks named after Sacagawea, including 1 river, 2 lakes, and 4 mountain ranges.
How did Sacagawea die?
Well, after the expedition at age 25, Sacagawea is believed to have succumbed to a serious illness that she'd suffered from most of her adult life. Her condition may have been aggravated by the birth of her new daughter. At the time of her death, Sacagawea was with her husband at Fort Manuel, a Missouri Fur Company trading post in present-day South Dakota. 8 months after her death, Clark legally adopted Sacagawea's 2 children, Jean-Baptiste and Lizette. Baptiste was educated by Clark in St. Louis and then, at age 18, was sent to Europe with a German prince. It is not known whether Lizette survived past infancy. There are, however, some who tend to agree with the theory developed by Dr. Grace Hubbard in 1907. Dr. Hubbard discovered a woman living in a Wind Indian reservation of Wyoming, who she believed to be the Sacagawea that led Lewis and Clark's expedition. She died and was buried in the reservation in 1884.
So now what do you know about Sacagawea?
What do you know about Sacagawea?
I knew she's an Indian. She's an Indian woman.
No, shut up. No, Lewis and Clark, they took her and she was the translator. She's like, no.
And she translated words. She was an Indian girl.
And then
She was in that Night at the Museum movie.
She got married at the age of 13.
No, that's Pocahontas. Maybe Sacagawea did. I don't know. That would be a lie, though.
I have to give you my approval before you use it, though.
Okay. Who is Sacagawea?
Oh, shoot, I can't do this. Hold on a second.
Okay, you got it?
Hold on a minute. I gotta Google something. I know she was in the Night at the Living Museum. Parts 1 and 2. And she ended up marrying Theodore Roosevelt. Who was very sadly played by Robin Williams.